Welcome to the Spiral Up podcast. I'm your host, Dr. Wieme, a peak performance coach and business strategist dedicated to helping you see what's possible within you, the blind spots that are holding you back, and the solutions to ensure success and fulfillment without the hustle. I use my secret sauce of metaphysics, brain science, and scripture to work with God to manifest your ideal life and business. If you're ready to create massive forward momentum in your business and bust through the blocks that drag you down, join me on the Spiral Up journey and create the clarity, confidence, and consistency to become the CEO that lives your life by design. It's time to create the sustainable impact, income, and time freedom you desire faster. Now is the time to spiral up. Hey, friends, welcome back to the Spiral Up podcast. I am so glad you're here. I'm your host, Dr. Wieme, and today I'm going to talk about something that's near and dear to my heart. It is the moment where you realize that you are doing all the freaking things. You're showing up, you feel like you're being consistent, you're being coachable, but your results are not matching the effort that you're putting in. And what I want to do today during this episode is to dismantle the lies that are allowing you to think that you're failing. You see, I see you. I get you. I was literally just sitting in my bedroom the other day doing my morning routine. And my morning routine used to be at 4:15 a.m. before I started, my day in surgery in anesthesia. And it was always a hustle. It was getting up early. It was just pounding through the day. It was taking advantage of every single moment that I had. I remember sitting in the skyway, like on the floor in the hallway between two buildings, eating my lunch with my computer open while I worked so that I could take advantage of every single moment of the day. I remember, scheduling phone calls for my drive home. I remember missing too many dinners because of scheduled Zooms. And it was exhausting. I was doing all the freaking things. I was showing up, I was coachable, and I wasn't seeing the results that I wanted. And some major shifts had to happen. And I am going to tell you guys about that as we get going. But when I was sitting there the other morning, I was noticing it was like 8:00. My kids and my husband had gone off to school. I was, using my AO scan to balance their energy while I read a book, sipping my coffee, knowing that my next appointment wasn't until 8:30. And it was like this moment that I realized that this is possible, but it didn't feel possible, when I was first starting this journey. And I want you guys to all know that if you are doing all the things, I see you, I get you, and I want you to know that it doesn't have to be that way forever. You see, the things that I was doing is probably the same thing that you're doing, posting consistently. And I'm not talking even just like once a day. I'm talking about posting several times a day. I was doing the courses. I was doing the coaching. I was creating the courses. I was launching. Guys, if you've ever done a live launch, you know how exhausting they are. There's so many pieces of the puzzle that have to go into that situation of the graphics to promote and the content and the workbooks and the way to register and what you're going to say and all the things like what you're going to do afterwards. It's exhausting. And then serving the clients that you do have. And then I was doing all the other things like praying and journaling and the affirmations. And it's like doing. And if you can resonate with that, you're like, yeah, me too, Lachelle. And I'm freaking exhausted. I'm exhausted. And then what happens is we get tired. And then we get a little bit less consistent because it's like, I just can't do it today. I'm done. None of this stuff is working anyway. So then we get in these stupid shame cycles where we start to think that we're lazy, that we start to believe that we're undisciplined. And then even worse is that we start to think, well, maybe we're not meant for this, or maybe that this wasn't my calling. Maybe I just misunderstood God, right? And I just got to say that if any of that relates to you, like, I get you. But what I want to do is give you this opportunity to ask yourself, what if the pause in your results, what if the mismatch between your effort and what you're seeing is lack of success is actually feedback? What if it's actually feedback? What if it's not punishing you? What if it's not that you're completely off base and not doing the right things, but really, what if it was just giving you the opportunity for some feedback? Because the pause in your fruit, the pause in your results and the success, the abundance that you've been wanting, the things that you've been hustling for are maybe not being brought into existence for you right now because the things that you're doing are not in alignment with your wiring. They're not aligned with your energy and the way that you're meant to flow. And maybe, just maybe, it's not aligned with your calling. And I wanted to say that I hear this so much that it's like I'm in strategy fatigue, Lachelle. Like I'm doing all the things. I remember showing up on team Zooms when I was in network marketing, and that was my main business. And I would show up on team Zooms that were happening every day. Instead of discerning which strategies I wanted to start executing and which advice I wanted to take, I was doing all of it. All of it. And I was in what I would consider a strategy fatigue. But guess what? This is not strategy fatigue. It's actually holy burnout. Because the exhaustion is not just physical, it's spiritual. It feels heavier than just with your body. And I got to just say that more effort inside of a misaligned structure is just going to produce more exhaustion. Now, the real villain here is not you, it's not your lack of discipline, it's not the business, but it's possibly, and I want you to consider this, the pressure-based model that we've all basically accepted as the norm. In a system where the collective consciousness is accepted that this is what it just is, that quantity is more important than quality, that visibility is more important than vitality, that output is more important than alignment, that effort is more important than design. And lastly, I would say adrenaline is more important than our annoying team. Like, let that sink in for a second. Like, we've allowed ourselves to be programmed that this is the way it's supposed to be. And we see these, Facebook messages and inspirational quotes that are supposed to gear us up to keep going. And I'm not telling you that that's not what I want you to do, but it is action that is the correct action for you that is going to give you the fruit. It is the action and the follow through with what God is telling you to do next, not what everybody else is telling you to do next. It's you recognizing that you are your own guru, that is not somebody else outside of you. And so when you get stuck in these systems of adrenaline and effort and output and visibility and all the things that you're doing, your nervous system begins to fight for you. And what happens is you get energy drain and you get creativity flatlining, and your confidence literally starts to crumble and flush down the toilet. So the truth is that you're not inconsistent. You giving yourself a break does not mean that you suck or that you're lazy or that you're not cut out for this. It just means that it's giving you feedback telling you that you're misaligned, that the strategy that you've been trying to push and force is just not aligned for you, that you're not unfocused, that you're just overwhelmed. It's easy to get caught in all the shiny objects and look at your to-do list and think, oh my gosh, I don't know what to do next, when we're overwhelmed. And you're not behind, you're just building in the wrong direction. What happens if the ladder that you're climbing is set up against the wrong wall, right? We need to stop blaming ourselves and decide that it is time to get our power back. So what does that look like? It means pausing. It means pausing and recognizing that God is not testing you. He's not punishing you. He's protecting you. He's protecting you from burnout. He's protecting you from misalignment, from self-abandonment, from grind culture. And instead of questioning yourself, I want you to start questioning the system in which you've been operating in. Because once we stop confusing hustle and faithfulness, right? Like that's what we think. We think that the hustling, the grinding, the doing more is proof of our faithfulness. God, I hear you. I feel your calling. I see this all the time. People come to me with scheduling these 5-figure money month calls or whatever. And they're like, I know that, why is the time now? I ask. And they're like, I just feel it. I feel it in my bone that this is something I need to do. I'm feeling this calling. What happens is that we feel this calling and we believe that we need to be faithful. We need to do all the things. And what that looks like is hustle. And what happening is that we're really just punishing ourselves with more and more pressure. This is an analogy I'm going to give you. I hear this one a lot too, is that, Lachelle, haven't you ever heard of, the man is praying for help and there's a big flood and he's on the rooftop and he's praying like, God help me. And all of a sudden this boat shows up and the guy's like, come on in, get in the boat. He's like, nope, I got this. God's going to help save me. Right. And then he's still on the rooftop and all of a sudden this helicopter comes down and he's like, hey, come on up. And the guy's like, no, thanks. God's got me. I hear this all the time. And I'm just going to tell you this right now. My truth of the hug is that is not scripture. That is not scripture. That is somebody's speech from a pulpit that has gone viral. That is not scripture. That is not aligned with the word of the Lord. Because what we fail to acknowledge in this place is that people think that I have to be doing all the things. That God is only God helps those who help themselves. That's what that parable is about. God helps those who help themselves. And people think that if the boat comes or the helicopter comes, that's not them helping themselves. But God is sending you help. And guess what? He did not ask the man to swim to the boat. He asked him to step into the boat. He asked him to take the next rung of the ladder to get into the helicopter. God is sending you things. He's not asking you to swim miles to get to his help. He's asking you to take the next aligned step with what he's given you. You can't just sit there on the rooftop and be like, I'm going to die because I'm not doing my part. But you have to be willing to recognize that he doesn't ask you to do a gazillion things. He's asking you to do the one next step. One next thing, take it with him. Take it with the alignment. We get caught up in this, like this identity piece where we feel like we have to be the strong one and the hard worker and I'm not lazy and all these things. And really what we do is we're just allowing ourselves to get stuck into the paradigm of the hustle for the sake of hustling. And once we start to recognize that the hustle, it does not equal faithfulness, and we stop punishing ourselves with that pressure, then our system can relax. And our mind stops spinning and our spirit stops questioning and clarity literally starts flooding back to you. And it's possible. So how is it possible? What I want you to do, the next steps that I want you to take is I want you to start paying attention. Pay attention to where you're exhausted. Pay attention to your overwhelm. Pay attention to your frustration. Pay attention to where you're inconsistent because you've been trying so hard and now it just feels like, why bother? Pay attention to where you're burnt out. Because these are not signs that you're not cut out for this. These are not signs that God is testing you. These are signs that you are being given feedback that your strategy right now is misaligned with your calling, with your energy, with the way that you've been wired. And going back to my story that I was telling you before, like me hustling every day, missing out on conversations in the break room because I was stuck sitting on the floor working during my lunch hour. Me missing dinner with my family, me being constantly tired because I was getting up so early to make it all happen. That doesn't have to be you anymore, but you get to step into what this next season is by allowing the feedback to shift the way in which you're operating, allowing this information, this acknowledgement to say, I don't want to live like this anymore. And I promise you, friends, that I am making more money than I've ever made in my life. And I'm doing it in a way that is full of peace and joy and flow and fun. And I see my family more than I've ever seen them before. I'm traveling the world more than I've ever done it. How in the heck do I have 3 houses and I'm working less? How does that even happen? And I'm not saying that from a braggadocious way. What I'm saying is that oftentimes we're convinced that if we let our foot off the pedal, then everything's going to fall apart. And that our calling won't be expressed and we won't be able to see witness to the abundance and all the things, and that it's tied to the hustle. And I am telling you that it does not have to be, that there are ways that you can get into alignment with your wiring, get into alignment with your calling, get into alignment with the way that your body utilizes energy.
And I'm going to invite you into a video that I created that is very specifically for this, that I'm going to teach you some things that I learned that can help you. And it's called my Flow State Money Reset. And I am going to put the links in the show notes. It's iamlifebydesign.com/flow money. So iam-lifebydesign.com/flow money. And I want you guys to watch that. And I want you to ask yourself, how does that compare in my body to the way that I've been feeling? How does it compare to the exhaustion and the burnout and the inconsistency and the overwhelm and the doubt that I have? And what would it feel like to feel this peace and this flow and this joy? Let that be your next breadcrumb. Let that be the boat and the helicopter that God is sending you. He's sending it to you. He's not asking you to swim the freaking, Mississippi River. He's asking you to take the one next step in alignment. And maybe that's this video, okay? I want you to get out of hustle. I want you to have peace. I want you to also have success and impact. You don't have to choose between the two, okay? Let's do this together. I'll see you inside the next episode, and make sure that you catch that Flow State Money Reset, because it's going to change your life. Bye.
So much for listening. If you enjoyed this episode, be sure to subscribe and leave a review. Each honest review helps me spiral up so that I can serve you even better. Whether you're feeling a lack of impact, income, or time freedom, or perhaps you're just ready for massive momentum in your business, let's chat. Apply for a breakthrough call so that you can gain clarity, identify what's holding you back, and make a plan to spiral up. Head on over to iam-lifebydesign.com/breakthrough or access the link in the show notes. For immediate support, log into our community, the Better Club. We focus on inspiration, tactical guidance, and support. This is a community that wants to be better, do better, and have better in life and in business, and we're going to help you do the same. Let's spiral up, friends.